This is Concept T classes, and today we'll deal with Chapter 10 of Class 8 Science, Reaching the Age of Adolescence. In the previous chapter, that is in Chapter 9, we studied about the reproduction in animals. But animals as well as human beings, they can only reproduce after growing up to a certain age. So that period of life is termed as adolescence. So in this chapter, we learn more about adolescence, what is puberty, and the changes that takes place inside the human body after which a person becomes capable of reproduction. The topics that we are going to cover in this chapter are what is adolescence and puberty, then what all changes can be observed at puberty, then about the secondary sexual characteristics, then we'll also study about the hormones that initiate the reproductive function, then we'll see the reproductive phase of life in humans, and how can we determine the sex of the baby, then hormones other than the sex hormones, and also how the hormones play a role in the life of insects as well as frogs, and finally we'll study about the reproductive health or about an individual's health. Now the first topic of this chapter is adolescence and puberty. Now the growth begins from the day a baby is born, but upon crossing the age of 10 or 11, there is a sudden spurt in growth which becomes noticeable. That is, we can observe changes taking place inside the body. This period of life when a body undergoes changes leading to reproductive maturity is called as adolescence. Adolescence begins around the age of 11 to 18 or 19 years of age. That is, it is a period between childhood to adulthood. Since this period covers the teens, that is in 13 to 19 years of age, adolescents are also called as teenagers. And the period of adolescence, it varies from a person to person. In girls, the adolescence begins a year or two earlier than that of boys, that is around the age of 10 to 12 years, whereas a boy, they begin the adolescence from the age of 12 to 13. Now let's see what is puberty. So the human beings, they undergo several changes during adolescence, and these changes marks the beginning of puberty. So puberty is a time in life when a boy or a girl becomes sexually mature. What do you mean by sexual maturity? It means the sex organs, that is the testes in males and the ovaries in females, they develop and they start producing sperms in boys and eggs in girls. It is a process that usually happens between the ages of 10 and 14 for girls and the ages 12 to 16 for boys. And the most important change which marks puberty is that the boys and the girls, they become capable of reproduction. And the puberty, it ends when an adolescent reaches the reproductive maturity. Now let's see what all changes can be observed in puberty. So the changes that can be observed in puberty are an increase in height, change in body shape, voice change, increased activity of sweat and sebaceous glands, development of sex organs, and reaching mental, intellectual, and emotional maturity. Now let's see these changes briefly. So the first one is increase in height. The most visible change during puberty is the sudden increase in height. Initially, the girls grow faster than boys, but by around the age of 18, both reach their maximum height. There is a rate of growth in height, it varies in different individuals. Some may grow suddenly at puberty and then slow down, while others may grow gradually. All parts of the body, they do not grow at the same rate. That is, during the process of puberty, sometimes the arms and legs or the hands, they look oversized or out of proportion with respect to the whole body. But soon the other parts, they catch up and result in a proportionate body. And we may also notice that the height of an individual is more or less similar to that of some family member. Do you know why? It is because the height depends on the genes which are inherited from their parents. We have already studied about genes in chapter 8, cell structure and function. So if you have any doubt concerning this, please refer to the corresponding slide of that chapter. It is, however, very important to eat the right kind of food during these growing years. as it helps the bones and muscles and other parts of the body to get adequate nourishment for growth. Now let's see the changes in body shape at puberty. When boys enter the age of puberty, the muscles of the body grow and the shoulders generally broaden as a result of growth. That is, there is an increase in muscle tissue at the time of puberty, and we can observe that the boys, they develop broad shoulders and muscles. In girls, the region below the waist becomes wider because of the faster increase of fat tissue. That is, in the case of girls, the fat tissue increases and the fat, it moves from the middle to the upper and lower part of the body, giving it a curvy like appearance. Thus, the changes occurring in adolescence for both boys and girls are different. Now let's see the next change of puberty, which is a voice change. At puberty, the voice box or the larynx begins to grow. Boys develop larger voice boxes, hence the boys have a deep voice. And this growing voice box in boys can be seen as a protruding part of the throat called as Adam's apple. You might have noticed in certain adolescents as well as adults, we can find Adam's apple. Sometimes the muscle of the growing voice box, they go out of control and the voice becomes deep or else as hoarse voice. In the case of girls, the larynx or the voice box is hardly visible from the outside, and because of its small size, the girls usually have a high pitch voice. Now let's see the next change of puberty, which is the increased activity of sweat and sebaceous glands. During puberty, the secretion of sweat glands and sebaceous glands, which are also called as oil glands, increases, and many young people, they get acne and pimples on their face at this time because of these glands in the skin. And the sweat glands, they releases a lot of sweat as well. These glands, such as sweat glands, oil glands and salivary glands, they release the secretions through duct and they are called as exocrine glands. So the exocrine glands, they secrete through ducts and they produces enzymes. Now let's see the next change of puberty, which is the development of sex organs. In chapter 9 or the previous chapter, we already studied about the reproductive organs in humans. That is, in males, the sex organ or the reproductive organ is the testis, and in females, it is the ovaries. At puberty, the male sex organs like the testis and penis, they develop completely, and the testis, they also begin to produce sperms. And in girls, the ovaries, they enlarge and the eggs begin to mature. Also, the ovaries, they start releasing mature egg. And these characteristics are called as primary sexual characters. That is, these are the characteristics which are already present inside the body. Hence, they are called as primary sexual characters. Now, we will study more about secondary sexual characters in the following slides. So the last change that can be observed at puberty is reaching a mental, intellectual and emotional maturity. Adolescence is also a period of change in a person's way of thinking. That is, adolescents, they become more independent than before and become self-conscious as well. And intellectual development, it takes place and they tend to spend considerable time thinking. That is, it is a time in one's life when a brain has the greatest capacity for learning. And sometimes, however, an adolescent may feel insecure due to the changes of body and mind, but there is no reason to feel insecure as these changes are a natural part of growing up. So that's all for the changes that can be observed at puberty. So we saw what is adolescence, puberty, and what all changes can be observed at puberty. Now we'll see the secondary sexual characters that can be observed during puberty. We already studied the primary sexual characters, which are testes and ovaries inside the human body. They are called as primary sexual characters because they are already present inside the body. Whereas the secondary sexual characters, they develop at the time of puberty. That is, the secondary sexual characters are the features which help us to distinguish the male from the female. In girls, the breast begin to develop at puberty. In boys, they begin to grow facial hair, moustache and beard, and they also develop hair on the chest. In both boys and girls, the hair grows under the arms and in the region above the thighs or the pubic regions. So all these changes can be observed during puberty, and these changes, they occur due to hormones. So now let's see what are hormones. Now let's see the next topic, which is the role of hormones in initiating reproductive functions. So before we enter into that, let's see what are hormones. The changes which occur at adolescence, that is the changes at puberty and the secondary sexual characters, all these changes are controlled by hormones. Now what are hormones? Hormones are the chemical substances or the secretions from endocrine gland or the endocrine system. And these endocrine glands, they release these chemical substances or the hormones directly into the bloodstream. So they are also termed as ductless gland. In males, at the onset of puberty, the testis releases the male hormone called as testosterone, and the testosterone, it causes changes in the boy that we have just learned, like facial hair, broadening of shoulders, etc. And in girls, once they reach puberty, the ovaries begin to produce the female hormone called as estrogen, which makes the breast develop, and the milk secreting glands or the mammary glands, they also develop inside the breast. Now the production of these sex hormones, which were the sex hormones? The testosterone produced from the testis and estrogen produced from the ovaries is under the control of another hormone secreted from an endocrine gland called as the pituitary gland. That is, the pituitary gland, which is present inside the brain, it controls all the activities of most of the hormone secreting gland, including the production of sex hormones. Let's see how. As we studied that the endocrine glands, they release hormones into the bloodstreams, they reach a particular body part called as a target site, and this target site responds to the hormone. That is, the hormones from the pituitary, they stimulate the testes and ovaries, which is a target site, to release testosterone in male and estrogen in female. And these hormones from the pituitary are released in the bloodstream, and they reach the parts of the body, that is in the testis and ovary, and they secrete sex hormones which are responsible for the male and female sexual characters. That is, what they do is that after these hormones are secreted, they stimulate the changes in body, such as the facial hair or the development of breast, etc. And furthermore, these sex hormones are under the control of the hormones from the pituitary glands, one which makes the ova mature in the ovaries and the sperm form the testis. Now let's see the next topic, which is the reproductive phase of life in humans. Adolescence becomes capable of reproduction when their testes and ovaries develop and they begin to produce gametes. What were gametes? Gametes were sex cells, that is the sperm and the egg, which are produced from the reproductive organ testes and ovaries. We have studied about gametes in chapter 9. If you have any doubt, please refer the corresponding slides of that video. Now, the reproductive phase in male, that is, it starts at around 12 years, and the male reproductive organs, they develop, that is the penis and testes develop and the sperms are produced. And the reproductive phase, they last till the old age. Whereas in the case of females, the reproductive phase, it starts at the age of 10 to 12 years, that is the age of puberty, and it generally lasts till the age of 45 to 50 years. And at the onset of puberty, that is at 10 to 12 years, the ova, the egg, it begins to mature, and one ovum is released by one of the ovaries once in about 28 to 30 days. Now during this period, the wall of the uterus, it becomes thick so as to receive this egg, and in case if it is fertilized, what happens? The fertilized egg, they embed in the wall of the uterus and they develop into an embryo, and then the embryo further develops into fetus, and this results in pregnancy. Now if fertilization does not occur, the released egg and the thickened lining of the uterus along with its blood vessels are shed off, and this causes bleeding in women, which is called as menstruation, and it is also called as periods in regular terms. Now this menstruation, it occurs once in about 28 to 30 days, and this cycle that repeats every month is called as menstrual cycle. At first it would be irregular, but after a period of time it becomes regular. Now the first menstrual flow, it begins at puberty, and that first menstruation is termed as menarche. And at the age of 45 to 50, the menstrual cycle stops, and that stoppage of menstruation is termed as menopause. Now the menstrual cycle is controlled by hormones. That is, the pituitary glands which is present inside the brain, it sends hormone signals back and forth with the ovaries, and then these signals, it get the ovaries and uterus ready for pregnancy. Now the next topic is, how is the sex of the baby determined? Now how can we say that a baby is a boy or a girl? Now in chapter 8, cell structure and function, we have studied that every cell contains a nucleus, and the nucleus contains thread-like structures called as chromosomes, which carry genes and which helps in transferring the characters from a parent to a child. And these chromosomes which is present inside the fertilized egg helps in determining the sex of the baby. Now what were chromosomes? Chromosomes are thread-like structures present inside the nucleus of every cell. And all human beings, they have 23 pair of chromosomes in the nuclei of their cells. And 2 chromosomes out of these are called as sex chromosomes, and they are named as X and Y. The female, they have 2 X chromosomes, and the male, they have 1 X and 1 Y chromosome. And the gametes, egg and sperm cells, they have only one set of chromosomes. So we have already studied that in fertilization, a male sperm cell, it meets a female unfertilized egg to form a fertilized egg, and this one fertilized egg contains 23 pair of chromosomes. Now the unfertilized egg always have one X chromosome, but sperms, they are of 2 kinds. It contains an X chromosome and a Y chromosome. So when a sperm containing X chromosome, it fertilizes the egg containing an X chromosome, what happens? The zygote will have 2 X chromosomes, developing it into a female child. Now, if the sperm contributes a Y chromosome and it fuses with an egg having an X chromosome, the zygote will have 1 X and 1 Y chromosome, developing it into a male child. Hence, we can say that the sex chromosomes of the father, that is X and Y chromosome, it determines the sex of an unborn baby. Now, the next topic is hormones other than sex hormones. So we already studied that the hormones are the chemical substances secreted from the endocrine glands directly into the bloodstreams, and all the production of these hormones are under the control of the master gland called as pituitary gland, which is present inside the brain. We also saw that the hormones which are secreted by the pituitary gland, they stimulate the testes which is present inside the males and the ovaries present inside the female to produce the respective sex hormones. Now apart from pituitary, testes and ovaries, there are other endocrine glands in the body such as the thyroid gland which is present inside the throat, the adrenal gland which is present in the top of the kidney like a cap-like structure, and finally the pancreas which is a leaf-like gland. It is both exocrine as well as endocrine gland. Now let's see briefly what all are these endocrine glands. The first one is thyroid. Now thyroid, it secretes the hormone called as thyroxine, which controls the metabolism of carbohydrates, fats and proteins. And if the thyroid gland, they do not produce the hormone called as thyroxine, then the person would suffer from the disease of a thyroid gland called as goiter. The person suffering would have a big and a bulging throat. Now let's see the next endocrine gland, which is the pancreas. The pancreas, they secrete 2 types of hormones, insulin and glucagon. Now if the pancreas do not produce the hormone insulin in sufficient quantities, the person would suffer from diabetes, as insulin controls the sugar level of the body. Now let's see the next endocrine gland, which is the adrenal gland. The adrenal glands secrete hormones which maintain the correct salt balance in the blood. The adrenals, they produce a hormone called as adrenaline, and this adrenaline helps the body to adjust to stress when one is very angry, embarrassed or worried. That is, the adrenaline, it controls our feelings. Now, as we said earlier, the thyroid and the adrenal glands, they secrete their hormones when they receive orders from the pituitary gland through its hormones. The pituitary gland, they also secrete a growth hormone which is necessary for the normal growth of the person. And if the pituitary gland do not produce this growth hormone in sufficient amount, that would result in dwarfness as well. So we already saw the role of hormones in human beings. Now let's see the role of hormones in completing the life history of insects and frog. In chapter 9, we learned about the life cycle of a silk moth and a frog. There we saw the process of metamorphosis, where there is a transformation from a larva to adult. We saw how a tadpole, it passes through certain stages to become a frog. So this metamorphosis or the transformation in insects is controlled by insect hormones. In a frog, it is controlled by the hormone called as thyroxine, which is produced by thyroid. And the thyroxine production requires the presence of iodine in water. If the water in which the tadpoles are growing do not contain sufficient iodine, the tadpoles cannot become adults. Now the last topic of this chapter is reproductive health. Now what is reproductive health? The physical and mental well-being of an individual is regarded as an individual's health. Now to keep the body healthy, every human being at any age needs to have a balanced diet, must observe the personal hygiene and undertake adequate physical exercise. And in case of adolescence, there is a rapid growth and development. Hence, the adolescents should maintain a good reproductive health for adequate growth. Now let's see the 3 requirements for a good reproductive health in adolescence. The first one is a nutritional need for adolescence. The adolescence is a stage of rapid growth and development, hence the diet for an adolescent should always be a balanced diet. What do you mean by a balanced diet? A balanced diet means the meals which include protein, carbohydrates, fats and vitamins in the proper proportions. Examine our Indian meal or the mother's milk in case of infants. Now milk is a balanced food itself. Fruits also provide nourishment. Iron builds blood and iron-rich fruits along with leafy vegetables, jaggery, meat, citrus, amla, all are good for adolescents. Now the next step for a good reproductive health is to maintain a personal hygiene. Now maintaining a personal hygiene means taking a bath at least once every day. And it is more necessary in teenagers as there is an increased activity of sweat glands and sometimes even making the body smelly. Hence, it is very important to clean all the parts of the body. And if cleanliness is not maintained, there are chances of getting bacterial infection as well. Girls should take special care of cleanliness during the time of menstrual flow. They should keep track of their menstrual cycle, use sanitary napkin or pads, and change the pad every 4 to 5 hours as per requirement. So the next step of a good reproductive health is physical exercise. Walking and playing in fresh air keeps the body fit and healthy, and all young boys and girls should take walks, exercise and play outdoor game. And finally, say no to drugs. Now adolescence is a period of much activity where you might feel confused or insecure. And if anybody suggests that you will get relief if you take some drugs, just say no unless it is prescribed by the doctors. Drugs are addictive and if you take them once, you'll feel like taking them again and again, and they harm their body in the long run, and they even ruin the health and happiness. You might have heard about AIDS, which is caused by a dangerous virus called as HIV. This virus, it can be transmitted by a person, infected person, by sharing the syringes used for injecting drugs. It can be also transmitted to an infant from an infected mother through her milk. So this virus can be transmitted through sexual contact with a person infected with HIV. So always say no to drugs. So that's all for this chapter. The next video will be the question and answers of this chapter. Tune in soon for the next session. Don't forget to share, like and subscribe if you find the contents useful. Thank you so much. May God bless you all. Take care and bye-bye.